Hey, what's up? Bertrand here from Design, and today I wanted to talk about a very important topic for most online small businesses. It's the hero section. I'm going to explain what it is, why you should care, and what you should do about it. So, imagine you own a small shop, okay, and you try to sell stuff to bankers and traders, and in Wall Street, let's say in New York, and this is your shop front. Okay, so again, imagine you're in Wall Street and you're trying to sell stuff to bankers and traders, and this is what your shop looks like. Okay, so what's wrong here? Obviously, it's confusing, it's cluttered, and it's not targeted to your audience. The I guess the Wall Street types won't really like this kind of presentation. So, what's the equivalent to your storefront online? And you guessed it, that's your hero section. So the hero is the first thing that your visitors see when landing on your website. It's the entire section above the fold, okay? And when we say above the fold, we mean it's the portion of the page which is visible to the user without scrolling, okay? So that's what we refer to above the fold. So it's an important concept, this above the fold concept, because we try to keep all the important information above the fold. And this is an example of obviously a bad hero section here. So why it matters? Okay, it matters because a bad hero section will turn your visitors away instantly. It's a bit like a bad storefront. Okay, you have a bad shop front or storefront. It's like having a bad hero. It will turn people away, and more importantly, it will turn your ideal customer away. And that's the most important, I guess, customers you would have. Yeah, and so a bad hero is like a bad storefront. It's the same. So essentially, you can think of your website as your shop and your hero section as your shop front, the first thing that people see. The rest of your website is like the inside of the shop, so to speak, but the hero is really the first thing. And especially in web traffic, usually gets a lot of people that bounce when they come on your page. So they will come on your page, and like usually 80% of the people will bounce back, will go to another website. So it's important to get this section right, and I hope this example kind of captures it. So then, what's a good hero or a good storefront? The first thing is that a good hero should follow conventions, okay? Because conventions help your visitor to instantly relate to your page, okay? We have been trained over decades of web design, and before this, print design, advertisement, and so on. Like, we know where to look for things. We expect things to be in a certain way. In fact, when you go to a website, the natural high movement pattern is to go from the top left of the website, then the top right, then the left, and then the right. It's like a zigzag kind of pattern. So we have this natural pattern, and this is why we follow conventions. So you should always strive not to break conventions, especially on your homepage. Obviously, for landing pages, it's a bit different. On landing pages, you might not have a menu, for instance. You might not have even a logo. You just have a headline. So that's slightly different. But let's talk about we're talking about your homepage, or like your storefront, where people will go when they first come to your website. So this is another example from, again, a similar shop, another shop, okay, another storefront. So what's wrong here, okay? And what's wrong here, besides that it's incredibly cluttered, is that there is no name. So you don't know the name of the business. There is no number. There is no opening hours. Like, these are conventions that we expect when we go to a store in the high street or anywhere. Like, we look at the window, we look for the opening hours, we look for a contact number. Like, these are things that we expect. These are kind of conventions, especially if we go on a Sunday when the shop is closed. We might look for when is it opening next. Okay, so That's the problem here with these shop fronts. So it breaks conventions, especially the part where there is no name. So like 99% of shops will have a name on top of it or on the window somewhere. So again, a good hero would follow conventions, and the convention for a hero is pretty simple. It's pretty standard. It's pretty universal. There is some variations in terms of layout, but it's always kind of the same elements. First, you have the header section. Okay, so this is a section at the top of the website here, where you have the logo on the left and the menu on the right. Okay, that's the header. So usually you need that. Like if you just have a logo and you don't have a menu, if you have several pages on your website, usually it's not good practice. You want to have the navigation on the top right. And again, it's a convention. So it's something that there is a famous UI UX book called Don't Make Me Think, and the title really summarizes this whole approach, is that we are trained to use websites a certain way, especially with navigation menu. So when you move your menu, all the way to the middle of the page or somewhere else, then you get people to think, and you will lose people in the process. The second element of these conventions is a headline, a sub-headline, and that's actually optional. Like sometimes you won't even need a sub-headline, a call to action button, what you want the user to do, or as I would call it, a call to value button, but we'll cover that in a second, and then an image or a video. Okay, that's essentially the basic conventions. That's what you need. Okay, just to get started. So now let's talk about one of the other important part about a hero. So it should encourage conversions. Okay, it should encourage people it should pique their interest, and it should encourage them to stay on the site and eventually buy your products. So to do that, there are several elements again we use. The first one is the call to value. So the call to value is basically this button in the top right, and usually it's in the body as well. Okay, so you usually have it twice in the hero, once in the top right, once in the body. We try to use a call to value rather than a call to action. So like a call to action would be get started. A call to value would be start losing weight, if that makes sense. So like let's say you're selling a weight loss program. So your call to, if you use a traditional call to action, will be get started or sign up here and so on. And the call to value will be start losing weight. So it's a slight difference, but it's more engaging to mention the value if you can in your button here. The second element that encourages conversion is the call to value objection. Okay, so this is an easy win in a way. So let's say your call to value here, your main button is, sign up for a free trial. Okay, and the little text that you see here, handle call to value objection. This is where you can already handle the main objection that people may have about your call to value. Okay, so for instance, if you use the one start losing weight, and the customer might be wondering, do I need a credit card to get started? You can say no credit card required. Okay, so you will add this just below the call to value. So start losing weight, no credit card required. Okay, so that's a great way to handle the objection related to your sign up flow or your funnel essentially. Another example is, maybe you offer an audit process or, some kind of service where you have to do some work and get back to the customers, and the customer might be wondering, how long will it take? Here, you would say, get your free audit, and we'll say, it takes less than 24. We'll get back to you within 24 hours. So kind of to address any objections people may have regarding your call to value. So that's That's a good little bit here to include. The next element that we use to encourage conversions is the star testimonial. So if you get any testimonial, you should add a portion of your best testimonial here. So usually it will be below the subheadline or below the call to value. And basically you just take a portion, the best portion of the testimonial. You don't want to put all the testimonial, especially if it's a very long testimonial, because then it becomes overwhelming to read through. Just take the best portion and then, just include that in your hero section here. And the next one is the hero image. Okay, so the hero image is the image you have on the right. You might have a video, but even with a video, you're gonna need, a static image, like a thumbnail for your video, so that, there is something on the page before the video loads. So for the hero image, it's pretty straightforward. And this is, again, an area where a lot of people would get confused. Basically, you want to use your product image. Let's say you are, you sell drinks, okay? So your product image will be a bottle of your drink, of the drink that you sell, okay? Your product in action image could be like someone drinking your drink, somewhere on the beach or in a club or whatever. So that's the product in action. Or a featured client story, so that's just, a picture of a client here and just a small testimonial or small case study right here, okay? So, similarly, if you sell software, it might be picture of your software, but this is the principle. So product image, product in action, or featured client story, okay? And then if you sell services, it might be an image of the customer avatar receiving the service. So let's say you sell some kind of consulting for small business, then it might be, a small business being consulted by a consultant and being happy. It could be also the image of the customer avatar, a happy customer avatar. So like, a small business owner smiling. An illustration of the service or a featured client story as well. So essentially, this will be your hero image for services. And then the last section, and again, remember, all of this is above the fold, okay? So this is your storefront, okay? This is the first thing people see, and at a glance, they get a very good idea of who you are. And so the last bit is a little bit more of social proof, which is the partner logo section, okay? Again, this is very easy to implement, and it would make a big difference in your image and how your clients perceive you. So here you'll have the partner logos. For instance, let's say you work with other businesses in your area. You can have their logos here or in your niche, in your industry. Institution logos. So let's say you work with, you're like a medical practitioner, for instance. And so, you work with like the Social Security Service, the NHS, whatever social security is in your country. You work with a hospital, maybe. So these are things you will put here. So institution, you work with logos, and it's either of these choices. Obviously, you don't want to put everything there. Client logos. So let's say you work with a few clients already. So obviously ask their permission, and then you can put their logos here, and you just say some of our clients. As seen on logos, if you have been featured in the press, this is especially true for authors. So if you write books and sell books online, you might have a few articles in the press in various media outlet. So you can add, like I've seen on NBC, I've seen on Amazon, if you sell on Amazon, and so on. Tech partners logos. So this is an easy one. If you are new, you don't have any social proof yet, and maybe you sell consulting or digital marketing services, and let's say you use to provide your services, you use WordPress, you use Slack, you use maybe not Facebook ads because they're a bit touchy about their brand, but like any of the technologies that you use to sell your services. Maybe you're on Fiverr as well, so you could have the WordPress logo, you can have the Fiverr because you are on Fiverr, you could have basically some of the key technologies that you use, okay? Because the technologies that you use to provide services are going to be different than someone else technologies that they use. So it could be tech partners, it could be suppliers as well. That's another way to put it. Like, who are your key suppliers, and whatever the size of your business, you can always fill this up using this section here. Okay, using tech partners or suppliers. And had a bunch of logos here, between 3 to 6 logo, I guess, at most. And this way you have this social proof component, which is pretty strong. It's a pretty strong indication for your clients that you're serious, and it's an easy win. Okay, and so we saw that the hero should encourage conversion. It should follow conventions. And the third one is maybe the most important one, generally speaking. It focuses on your avatars, not on design. So like most people make the mistake of spending days working on their landing page, but do not spend any time wondering who their clients are and how they can create the most welcoming storefront for their particular clients. Okay, so the truth is, the design of your page, your landing page, how pretty it looks, what landing page builder you use does not matter. Like, a lot of people will get stuck on that part because they need a better landing page builder. They need the landing page builder they use is not working for some reason, so they'll get stuck. They need it to look perfect. But if you study a bit, or if you look a bit at what successful business owners online are doing, not all of them have pretty websites. If you think, if you go back and you think about people like Frank Kern, who was you might know as a digital marketer, but the point is, all his websites landing pages were really, really ugly, and he didn't really bother that much about if it looks perfect or not, and it worked all the time. And for a more recent example, you can think of Alex Hormozi, who has a similar approach. Like, they would focus more on the message and the service and the value you deliver, rather than making it pretty. Okay, so that's very important to focus on your clients, try to figure out who you want to serve, create a customer avatar, the usual stuff, and then don't worry about the technology you use, don't worry about how pretty it looks, so what matters is how much you know about your ideal clients and how on point your message is. And design is only here to support that approach. Like, graphic design and creating, visual as a place in this process. Like you saw, you'll need to create your partner proof, your partner's logo here. You'll need to create a hero image. You might need to create a design for the testimonial, but it's only here to, support that approach, which is focused on your customer and focused on having a clear message following conventions, trying to encourage conversions. And yeah, so again, design is only here to support. So now it's your turn. You can use this approach to rework your hero section. Hope this is helpful, and if it is, let me know. And yeah, that's the hero section with design.